Dear class, I hope this finds you well. Everything is good here, and I'm hoping that it continues that way for us and for all of us. So I wanted to address a few words to you about how to approach our current reading, the reading that completes the odd couple pairing of Catullus and William Congreve, because you have to address not only the play that I'm asking you to read by Congreve, The Way of the World, his masterpiece, but you have to negotiate, rather like poor Catullus coming back all that way from the coast of Turkey up to his home in Sirmione, by Lake Garda. You have to negotiate a journey through time and through genre, from poetry to drama. And so perhaps the most significant shift that is involved in reading The Way of the World after reading Catullus is connected with love itself. Catullus's love poems have made him famous and placed him in the hearts of readers now for 2,000 years and more. And Congreve has won our hearts through the theatre in telling us a love story. And the great difference, of course, is that in Catullus you only hear the man's side. You have to imagine Clodia and the will-o'-the-wisp that she is, impossible to pin down. The same story exactly is told in The Way of the World, but it's told from not so much from a different point of view. It's told from an objective and impartial point of view, which introduces us to both of the main characters, Mirabell, a man about town in the London of the time, and Millamant, its most gorgeous ornament, the beautiful Millamant, a lady of free fancies, not necessarily free with her favours. There's no indication that Millamant has lots of lovers, whereas in the case of the Pulka daughter, in the case of the real Clodia, the real Lesbia, we have somebody who seemingly, if the rumour we have of it is true, had many lovers. But Millamant is as difficult to pin down as Catullus's beloved. And in this lies her significance for us, because Mirabell is clearly smart, attractive. He's our man. Millamant is gorgeous, difficult, and as Catullus's beloved is. And she is our prize, but from her point of view, a point of view that we entertain a good deal in The Way of the World, does she want to surrender to one person? Will anyone ever be good enough for Millamant? This is the question. And we believe, as spectators, that of course Mirabell is the man she's been looking for. And yet somehow he has to trap her, pin her down in the net of his adoration, like the gorgeous butterfly that she is. So I don't particularly want you to pay great attention to the plot of The Way of the World, which, since its first performances, has given people a certain amount of difficulty. It's a complicated plot. It has to do with money, as all good love stories do. And if you can follow it, so much the better. But from the beginning, we know that Mirabell is a clever, artful fellow who has a plot afoot to obtain the money that is owed to Millamant, which is tied up in family complications. And this then involves all kinds of impersonations and people dressing up as people they are not. But through it all runs one thread, the only thread I want you to concern yourself with, and that is Mirabelle and Millamant. They are spoken of, they meet, it's like a whirlwind within a whirlwind, as Mirabelle declares in various ways, a puzzle within a mystery. And finally, there's a great scene in which Millamant surrenders and says, "Oh, I think I'll have you. I'll accept." And that is the famous provisos scene on which I want you to concentrate. The provisos are the conditions. That's what proviso means, under which she will dwindle into a wife. She will subject herself to being the permanent beloved. And she lays down conditions. And then he, in exchange, says, well, that's okay, I agree to all of those, and here are my conditions. And this is not a scene that you get in many modern love stories, and this is modern, even though it's written in 1700, it is the start of modernity. And it installs modernity by precisely this conversation. How will we prescribe? What legal limits? How will we determine? How will we paint the portrait of our togetherness, of our marriage, not just the wedding? And the importance of it, of course, is that it goes beyond the he and she getting together, beyond the perfect love achieved, which is the aim of love stories in the modern world and in the ancient world too. But they rarely go beyond the capture, the yes, we are together, the yes, we can walk off into a sunset. That is the completion of the love story. Not so in The Way of the World. In The Way of the World, long before the final scene, it's about how will it take place, this wonderful thing, the he and she living together. What dangers are to be avoided? What will make it plausible that the marriage should happen? And the great focus, as you'll see, is on keeping strange to each other, maintaining the flirtation and the chase and the separateness and the space. All the things that, indeed, as an aim at least, make a relationship viable and not claustrophobic and not destructive. Now, this is a real grown-up conversation that Mirabelle and Millamant have. It's not about the libidinous satisfaction of, yes, they are together. And that's the end of the story. Thank you, folks. On the contrary, it says, here is how they have devised a way of enduring as a couple, as a married couple, not just as the he and she in hot pursuit. So it has endured and must endure, this play, because it asks us a much larger question than, oh, will we capture the beloved? Will she surrender to us? Will he surrender to us? It asks the larger question is, never mind, will she/he, or won't he/she, never mind that. The real question is, how will we manage in this happy ending? What is this happy ending? Whither does it lead? Take us into the garden of completed love, and tell us what it looks like. How will we overcome the obstacles of getting to know each other too well, all too well? Now, this is a grown-up matter. And of course, there are many portraits in modern literature, in fiction, and in drama of continuing marriages. They're usually in trouble of some kind unless they're almost meaninglessly blissful, which is, again, simply what Durrell called the lineaments of gratified desire. That's to say that the image of the happy marriage is just a wish fulfillment, the image in literature. The other image that we get of marriage is doom and gloom. It's struggling. It's struggling against the very constraints of marriage that Congreve wants us to consider, to contemplate when we are still lovers, when we have only just achieved our aim, as they do in the great provisos scene, which you will find. What hope can we seriously give in a grown-up way, not just in the childish, let's find the beloved and capture her/him, in a grown-up way? How will we do it? What will it look like? Marriage. So don't worry too much about the plot. If you can understand it, that's wonderful. It's a little complicated. It was a little complicated, as I mentioned, when first staged. It was found to be too sententious, they claimed. It was too full of philosophical conclusions. This is nonsense. It's quite demanding. It frightened the audience of the time, and Congreve retired. He retired, as it were, to comfort. He had a wonderful government job in charge of taxicabs, a little like Trump's fixer, Mr. Cohen. A lot of money in cabs. Anyway, he was the official government secretary for cabs, and that to which he retired with great elegance, I'm sure. If you read his preface, his dedications, what an elegant man, what an elegant mind. To have him in charge of cabs is kind of a wonderful thought, as if you had some great ballet dancer in charge of the trains running on time. So it was not a total success. His first few plays were hugely successful, and this one wobbled a bit. But in time, as so often, time brought it out as what I think Congreve knew it to be, his masterpiece. He spent a gilded summer, on an estate somewhere with milliment figures wafting around, and it inspired him to write the ultimate comedy of worship and adoration. But he crowned it with the real question, when the worshipped and adored one is captured in the net, and when they go off into the sunset, like the moment at the end of The Graduate, the Mike Nichols film, where the lovers speed away, and she has been captured right at the last moment, about to marry somebody else, and they sit there, and they sit there, and they sit there. And our consideration is, yes, we won, he got her, it's wonderful, and now? But Congreve, still ahead of the pack, in 1700, went a little further than that and said, okay, let's take this on, the what now of the loving fulfilled. How will it be for them to be together? So I want you to read in the play, follow Mirabell and Millamant in their little scenes, above all, as I say, the famous proviso scenes, the scenes in which they lay down conditions, and consider, what would Catullus have said? Mind you, Catullus died very young, as far as we know, around 30, and he never, there's no implication of, I'd like to settle down with Lesbia. So you think, are you sure? Really? Whereas we do move forwards, because although Millamant is every inch a Lesbia, Congreve says, well, okay, let's consider. How will they manage it? And this drags all of us beyond literature's wish fulfillment into reality, and stands there like a therapist almost, saying, now seriously, consider how is this going to work? Not just, I want her, I want him. I wish you joy of it. I hope you're able to decipher the play in the light of what I've been saying, and I will quiz you on that basis, and we will consider through these two writers the history of love in literature. I wish you happiness and love in life, and may it be glorious and fulfilled, as it is in the way of the world. Be safe, my dears. Do not take risks, please. And I hope to see you very soon. Bye-bye now.